Hello everybody, Randy Adkins here, back with more Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, of course. We are ready to start 5.2. We finished 5.1 last night. Yeah, so a little bit anxious to get going here. Hopefully we find a way to get our friends back to the source. But let's get into the game and get going. So we're back at the Rising Stones and ready to talk to Kryl.
Rando. My, what a pleasant surprise. You've come to inquire after the Archons. If you've come to inquire after the Archons, fear not. Master Matoya's treatment has proven effective in stabilizing their corporeal ether. We mustn't grow complacent, however. Potent though these magics may be, they are not without limits. We can only hope they afford us enough time for the Crystal Exarch to complete his work. If only we could go with you to the first and help. Pardon the interruption, but I come bearing urgent news.
It's Maxima!
Ah, Rando, it has been far too long, my friend. Forgive me, I don't believe we've been formally introduced. Maxima, former Gallian ambassador. I remain here in Eorzea under the auspices of Commander Aldine, offering what counsel I can in hopes of resolving the present conflict with the Empire. Ah, yes. I have heard stories of a defector from Garlemald, but never mind that. You said you have urgent news. Indeed. As you may have heard, the Imperial capital is in turmoil, and a sizable portion of the Gallian forces have been recalled from the Gimlet Dark. With their numbers so greatly diminished, the main host of the Alliance has withdrawn, leaving the Alamegan resistance to keep watch over the border. And it is there we have welcomed a most unexpected visitor who claims that this de-escalation may belie growing dangers and unforeseen threats. Commander Aldine has arranged for an impromptu meeting to discuss these revelations. He has also requested a representative of the Scions to attend as well, though it was clear to whom he wished to extend this invitation. They mean me. It would seem time is of the essence. Well, you'll not be attending this meeting alone. Though I am not as well versed in the affairs of city-states as our comrades, I see no reason to burden a single scion with all this. Yes, of course. Then we must make for the Alamegan quarter with all haste. Well, what are you waiting for? Get going, you two!
Alamegan quarter in the locks. Even though I know I don't ever use Chocobo Keeps, I feel compelled to unlock them just so they're unlocked. Just used to not being able to fly in cities. Oh.
Much has changed since the first time... Sorry. Much has changed since the first time we set foot in the city. Now we strive to preserve their freedom rather than reclaim it. But we've no time to reminisce. We mustn't keep the commander waiting. Commander Aldine awaits us in the Royal Palace. If you would follow me.
It's Gaius. I love Gaius.
They're
I mean, I
here,
don't love
Commander.
Gaius, but I like Gaius.
And I, for one, am grateful that they are. Told you've been busy since our paths last crossed at the Gimlet Dark. Not that I understand half of it. When the Scions spoke of other worlds, I'd struggled to describe what I pictured. Mayhap things would seem clearer were I to hear the tale from your own lips. But I'm afraid the situation will not afford us that luxury. I trust you two require no introduction.
We meet again, hero of Eorzea.
He's so handsome.
Must we repeat this ridiculous display? I pose no threat to you, though what I come to warn you of very well might.
Had he meant to do us harm, I hazard he would have kept to the shadows, and brought more than 2 companions. We need not pretend to be the best of friends, but I hope we can put aside our differences for the present.
As you are doubtless aware, Sir Estinian and I cooperated to rid the world of Black Rose in your absence.
Anytime someone says, as you are doubtless aware, or as more precisely, as you are doubtless already aware, all I can think of is there was one line where Alize was making fun of Alphino and saying how he'd probably say something starting with, as you are doubtless already aware.
Our journey together took us as far as the Imperial Palace, where we witnessed Emperor Varus meet his death at Xenos' hand. Being the sole witnesses to this crime, and in no position to defend our innocence, we were then forced to flee, each pursuing his own avenue of escape. When we were later reunited, Estinian claimed to have encountered an unfamiliar kind of machina during his flight, but to me his description seemed anything but, and upon further investigation I found that I was right.
Oh, Ultima.
The Empire is developing a new Ultima weapon.
What, that Allagan monstrosity, created to vanquish primals, with which you yourself once thought to conquer Eorzea?
The same.
Yeah.
But you know as well as I how that tale ended.
Was Kryle's voice different? I think Kryle's voice was different.
The weapon itself, excavated from beneath this very city, was destroyed ere we could fully unravel its secrets. and that should have been the end of it. But unlikely as it sounds, the Empire's efforts to recreate it have somehow borne fruit, primarily through secret research conducted by the 7th Imperial Legion, it would seem.
Wait, the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its legatus.
Indeed. Few survived. The 7th, as it is now, has little in common with the Legion led by Vandarnus, and its leadership has changed hands several times since. Precisely how this project has continued despite such turmoil, and under whose auspices, remains a mystery. What we do know, however, is that a number of prototypes have been produced, and that one of them is on its way to Eorzea. We attempted to stop it, but it was all we could do to slow its progress, so we resolved instead to bring you warning.
And right glad are we that you did, though it soundly dashed our hopes that tensions might ease at last.
As it is, we've begun to strengthen our presence in the Gimlet Dark, and are assembling a force to meet the coming threat. A force with you in its vanguard, I hope.
I mean, how else are you going to have any hope to beat it?
Before you say anything, I know full well you have pressing concerns of your own. Your comrades remain in peril, and I would not ask you to forsake them. But the fact remains that you, and you alone, have faced the Ultima weapon, and emerged victorious. We need you. And so, when the time comes, if your comrades can spare you, I bid you lend us your strength. I've assigned an officer to await your word.
The Ascian's downfall was to be the work of my remaining days. But it was my hand that kindled these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further. I will do what I must to see this mistake consigned to history once and for all. Even if it means begging your aid. The Fates will enjoy the irony, even as I endure the ignominy.
I too shall make for the border and offer my skills, meager though they seem in such company. Mayhap we shall meet there anon.
Though we can ill afford to ignore the coming of a new Ultima weapon, our friends' plight grows ever more precarious, and none save you can join them in the first.
Yeah, her voice doesn't sound completely different, but it sounds off. I don't know, maybe it was a while between recording sessions and the refresher clip they played. I don't know.
I only hope you are not forced to make a choice.
As ever, the way forward is paved with difficult decisions. We can ill afford to ignore the threat of a new Ultima weapon, but with each passing day, the plight of the Scions grows ever more perilous. If you cannot stay for a debriefing on the Ultima weapon, I will not stop you. I only ask that you confer with me before returning to the first.
Okay. Now I see. It's ruby weapon. I have L tracker up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 quests in 5.2. 5.2 is called Echoes of a Fallen Star. Yes, okay. Kyle can see the steely resolve in your eyes, and suspects she knows to where your duty calls you. I take it you're ready to return to the first. Then I would ask that you apprise the others of recent events here in the source, namely Xenos' return, and the development of a new Ultima weapon. As for their bodies, you may assure them that Master Matoya and I will continue doing what we can to keep their corporeal ether stable. Safe travels, Rando, and I hope to see you and the other Scions soon. Okay, so we're gonna return, because my return is still at the Crystarium. Alright. To the Dossel Gate. You're wet. Yes. It's raining. There's still a smaller mob of people, but a mob of people at the gatekeep here. Yeah, it's just him. You've come at a most opportune time, my friend. I've made something of a breakthrough in my research on the soul and a means to return the Scions home. I trust you too have been making good use of your time. Yeah, they're making another Ultima weapon. Ill tidings from the source, you say? Then I will summon the others that we might all be appraised of the situation.
Now that we are all here, what news from the source?
Garleans are still acting a fool. Xenos is back in his body.
A new Ultima weapon. We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern. With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion.
Good.
Thanks in large part to Urianger and Beklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white aurosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And, after a good deal of trial and error, we made one. An ark for soul and mind both, that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds. A spirit vessel, if you will. However...
However?
Though the vessel is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allegan Emperors, which certainly does not flow within aurosite or any other crystal.
Just so, milady. The blood serveth as a conduit of sorts. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel. I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allegan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very different from those of my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I know that you can ill afford to wait, and it pains me that I must ask you to do so. I can only reaffirm my promise to you that a solution will be found. Whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness.
I really like Lena a lot.
But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Why not speak in here? She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
Perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
Depending on what her issue is, yes. It may simply be my imagination, but Lena has been rather brusque with me of late. You don't suppose she's still upset over that mishap with the salmon fillet, do you? What? Never have I seen such a repository of knowledge. A stark reminder what little we truly know of the world. Upon white aurosite's crystalline foundation, we have built not a prison, but a refuge for the soul. Would that Moonbreeder were here to see the wonders inspired by her research. I'm still mad about her. I really liked her a lot. To think we not only have Xenos to contend with once we return, but a new Ultima weapon as well. Why must all of our enemies insist on returning from their graves?
I mean, it's truth.
I must confess, while I enjoy my fair share of scholarly research, it will be good to step outside for a spot of fresh air. Now then, shall we go and speak with Lena?
Ah, down here.
I suggest we hurry. Lena does not strike me as one who enjoys being made to wait.
She's literally right here.
We have little time, so I will be brief. A Sin Eater has been sighted in Lakeland, and I ask for your assistance in slaying it. A Sin Eater? I had heard some few yet remained after the knight had returned, but perhaps we should call the others. That will not be necessary. It is only a single Sin Eater. A simple task for our guard, I should think. That said, I believe fighting alongside the Warrior of Darkness would be a valuable experience for them. Peace can lead to complacency, and they gain nothing from an easy victory. But you do not underestimate your foes, however harmless they may seem. My men would do well to learn from your example.
Let's be about it then.
Excellent. Then let us make for Fort Yob.
Okay. So we are going to teleport outside to Tessellation and go to Fort Job.
The Sin Eaters that remain no longer have a leader to guide them, but they are no less dangerous. They cannot be suffered to live.
Oh. Disconnected. My phone, just in case it fully disconnects me. It looks like it might. Yep, I was afraid of that. So, while we're waiting, we'll go back to the just chatting screen while I get logged back in. And hopefully get right back in so that we can continue our adventures. Of course not. Of course I'm 3,000 in queue. Well, in that case, there's no sense in keeping the stream going. So I'm gonna go and stop it now. If it's already almost 10 o'clock. 3,000 is probably a good hour and a half or so. So unfortunately, that's probably going to be it for tonight. I will stream tomorrow almost for sure. Like I never like to say that I will for sure be streaming on a particular day, because it, like, you know, it could come up where I end up being busy doing something or something like that. But I will most likely be streaming tomorrow. Hopefully get 5.2 more underway. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for tonight, I guess. This is a very short stream. We've only been going for about 40 minutes, like not quite 40, about 35 minutes. So pretty short one, but unfortunately got disconnected. So probably see you tomorrow, but I will see you later, everybody.